Session, that is pitch session, MPower, integrated digital onboarding and OMS platform for PMS, for which I would like to call upon Mr. M.S. Chandrashekar, CEO Hexagram. Can we hear a huge round of applause? And sir, can we have you on stage?
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, we launched MPower in the year 2015. Our dream was to create a single platform which can cater to all the sub-segments within investment management. First, we started with mutual funds, insurance companies, pension funds, alternates, offshore funds. And now it's time to enter the PMS arena. Prior to creating this, we had a lot of interactions with the industry community, many PMS managers we interacted with. Most of what we have put together in the product is the result of those interactions. If there has been any loss in translation in terms of SKUs in the product, the fault lies with me. If you all find the product fit for purpose, then the credit goes to the manager community. So with that little intro, let me move on. When we started interacting, we realized that primarily there are three parts that are critical for a PMS technology solution. The first one being you need a very robust and comprehensive order management system. It should also be supporting the PMS firms in terms of adhering to the extent policies and the emerging regulatory policies. The third one is to do with how he interacts with the customers in terms of producing statements, in terms of having a portal which allows bidirectional interactions with the customer. These are the three things that governed how we constructed the solution for the portfolio management firms. On the technology side, this has been built on the latest stack of technologies. It allows very smooth integration with external data providers, other systems. If you're a large house having multiple systems, it will be a good citizen within the IT infrastructure. That was one of the goals that the technology choice solved for us. The second one is the design of the UI to flatten the learning curve and make sure it's a pleasure to use. The third, obviously, is parallel processing to ensure that the umpteen rules that the portfolio manager uses in terms of order consumption, in terms of cherry-picking portfolios, etc., hundreds of rules across thousands of portfolios should be delivered on time and comfortably for the user. These were the guiding principles when we looked at offering this to the portfolio management community. Let's move on. And being part of Kfintech, we always aim to serve the end-to-end requirements of the market of our choice. So as far as the PMS segment is concerned, we deliver a digital onboarding solution from onboarding a customer right up to production of the client statement. All the areas are covered within our suite of products, and they all interact with each other seamlessly. As far as onboarding is concerned, it could be a DIY model or an assisted model. It takes care of all the KYC, AML requirements. We also have partnerships with custody banks to ensure the DMAT creation happens smoothly along with the onboarding process. All the legal documentation, etc., which is collected as part of the onboarding process, there is a DMS system which takes care of storing it and allowing retrieval, allowing audits, and so on and so forth. So we'll move on now to see how the OMS, the key aspects of the OMS. As soon as the PMS manager logs in, he looks at a dashboard, which gives him critical insights into the strategies that he is managing. The critical data elements would include, obviously, the number of portfolios belonging to the strategy, the AUM, and the number of portfolios which are performing below benchmark, above benchmark, return data, and a dissection of the strategy level holdings, positions in terms of the various dimensions, like the sector, the issuers, the management groups, and so on. Once he has looked at the dashboard, then he would obviously do a little bit of stock picking, where he could do a drill down based on those same dimensions, look at positions across the dimensions, as well as go to the security level, pick the security, then generate or decide on how he wants to play with the weightages. Does he want to increase the weightage across portfolios belonging to the strategy for that particular stock, or achieve a target weightage, and so on, okay? And it also allows him to cherry pick the portfolios which have to participate in this trade. For that, there is a very neat interface where he can build rules, either based on exposure at the security level, the traded security itself. He may want to select portfolios which have an exposure lesser than a certain percentage, greater than a certain percentage, or he can decide these rules based on a combination of securities, or look at the sector level and apply those filters, so that out of perhaps 1,000 portfolios belonging to a strategy, perhaps 450 may get involved in participating in that particular trade based on the rules that the portfolio manager creates on the run, on the go, as and when he is deciding the trade, right? Once he has decided, he generates the orders, then it gives all the portfolios which are participating in that decision neatly, so that he can look at it, take decisions, or go back, change the filter, and so on. Along with the filter, it also shows him if portfolios are excluded, why have they been excluded? Is it because of a negative list, or is it because the rules were not adherent? The portfolio was not compatible with the rules, and so on. The important thing is he's able to play around with the rules and cherry pick portfolios. Once he does that, this order is automatically transferred to the dealing desk through a workflow system. Then the dealer decides on which broker to route the order to. He can perhaps chop it up and send the order for execution to multiple brokers. He can select based on security or a few filters to make sure that he can do that task efficiently. So we saw that the decision was taken by the manager, and based on the type of portfolio, if it's a discretionary portfolio, an aggregator order goes to the dealer. If it's a non-discretionary or a NRI kind of customer, then each individual portfolio will appear in the dealer screen, so that the execution happens at that level. Moving on, it goes to the confirmation. Most of the portfolio managers have an understanding with the brokers, and you receive information from the brokers in terms of the ability to execute the orders. These are automatically consumed by the system as and when they receive information from the brokers, so that the confirmations are recorded. And in case there are short executions, till now, the weightage of the order, the amount of the order that is apportioned to each portfolio, is maintained sacrosanct. In case there is a short execution, the user can modify the allocation manually. If that happens, automatically the system will route the order with sufficient information to the compliance team. Upon approval, it will go ahead. All this is part of following the regulatory guidelines. Okay? Once the confirmation is through, then the order flows through for processing by the back office, and for all the downstream processes now, the order is ready. This is how the workflow system works, giving due respect for role separation, responsibility separation, and so on and so forth. It's a very hygienic system from that perspective. The other important characteristic, the other important requirement of an order management system would be to do with rebalancing. Rebalancing can be done manually, or driven by a model, or driven by a basket, generating a basket kind of an order. Right? So once you go to the rebalancing module, there are two purposes for this rebalancing. One is periodically the manager may want to rebalance the portfolios against a model, or against the holding pattern at the strategy level, and so on. He can choose against which target he wants to rebalance. The other important thing is to deploy new money, or add on money, or liquidate to satisfy withdrawal requests. While doing this, the system has an algorithm. He can combine rebalancing and generating a basket. So at one touch of a key, he can say, this new money, please deploy according to the model, or please deploy according to the strategy weightages that are already there. When he does that, if it is new money, it will look at the underweights against that, try to satisfy that. Any balance, it will try to spread to make sure the weightages are. So you can combine rebalancing and deployment of new money, or you can combine the liquidation aspects, the sale aspects, along with trying to be in tune with the target that the portfolio manager wants to follow. Here again, while rebalancing too, he can cherry pick portfolios. First of all, when he chooses a model, only portfolios which are attached to that model will participate in that. Otherwise, again, the same cherry picking happens, and all the orders get routed to the dealer for execution subsequently, similar to the order that he created on his own. Actively, he created some order. Similarly, it joins the execution queue and goes through the execution aspects. The trade life cycle completes by visiting the dealer's desk, the confirmation desk, and then it moves on for back office processing. This is how the order management system works. Since there are only 15 minutes, I'll not dwell too much on that. We'll move on to compliance from here. The compliance system is a system of rules and a workflow to ensure if there's a breach in the compliance, who has to approve, or should it be approved at all. So when a compliance officer logs into the system, he gets a dashboard, right? And the dashboard shows various aspects of compliance. What are the compliance alerts which are triggered, perhaps as an email to the investor himself to approve, or by email to the compliance officer because he may not be in the office? How can he take a look at it and make a decision to approve or disapprove? By clicking on that, he can see what are the orders pending approval, what are the overall status of the compliance across all portfolios. He can drill down to any level to understand the health of the entire firm with respect to regulations as well as any internal governance policies that they may want to follow, right? And he can drill down and see which are the portfolios, which are the specific portfolios which may be in the red zone or in the amber zone and so on, right? So this gives a very neat way of looking at the overall governance mechanisms. Are we in tune with what is required, whether it is in term or not? In case an email approval is required, an email is shot off to the investor or the relevant person with a approve or reject. So by a simple touch of a key, he can generate a response to that, which is consumed by the system, and action, flows based on the decision taken on the email. This is the other aspect in the compliance. So you have either a product logged in approval where you can record your comments, etc., or an email driven approval so that whoever is not in the office or an investor has to come in at that point in time and approve that decision. That flows through without any breakages in the trade. The important thing is to allow execution as quickly as possible. It may so happen that there may be prior approvals for certain activities. That is also recorded in the system and maintained. If there are prior approvals, the system will not wait for a specific approval. It will go ahead and consume the prior approval. The prior approval may be for a specific period, up to a quantum of trading, up to a maximum amount of trading you can do in a certain counter, and so on. So that's how the compliance system is put together to make sure you're always on top of what's happening. Finally, as an extension of the compliance system, the system is also capable of enabling the manager to follow all the guidelines that are proposed by the regulator, make sure that he is within that. Right from when we discussed earlier, I touched upon the aspect of role separation that is embedded in the product. Then there could be certain related party investments which are capped at a certain level. There could be several more that come up as we move along. As a team, because we have experienced the ability to make sure you can smoothly, with some ease, follow the guidelines based on our experience in the other market segments, the same thing is brought here. It supports audit also. Every single trade, every document that is collected, every approval that has been provided, all breaches, along with the age of breach, are housed in the system and available for easy retrieval. right? So this is yet another aspect that we discovered when we interacted with the industry, that it should be wholesome. It should be able to support them in their requirements of adherence to policy, regulatory or internal. Both of these have to be taken care of when they're using technology-driven solutions such as MPower. Finally, as I said, the other aspect is to do with customer reporting. Right from generating a single-page view of a portfolio and delivering it periodically or making it available to a to an investor when he logs on to the portal, right up to producing a docket of reports, starting perhaps at the health of the portfolio, then all the transactions done for the period, what was the turnover ratio, what are the fees charged, and how much are you making net of fees, how far have you progressed in your goal. It can generate a whole docket which can be delivered, published quality, very good quality docket, which can, comprising of 10, 12 reports together, can be put in a binder or placed in a certain place so that the investor is comfortable interacting with you. He gets something that, from which he can judge where he is in his choice of the portfolio manager, as well as where he is with respect to his portfolio and the health of the portfolio, right? So, and these reports can be generated either at the individual portfolio level, or if it's a family, it can be aggregated, in which case all the returns, etc., the associated information is provided at a consolidated level, or it could be for a different type of grouping of the portfolios, or at a customer level when he has multiple portfolios. So across all these dimensions, one can generate the customer reports and deliver it via email or manually or whichever way, or place it in a certain place so that there is a very controlled access of the information that the customer should be provided with. So this is what I wanted to cover in this pitch session. Hopefully I haven't taken more time than what was allotted to me. And luckily for me, there were no video malfunctions. Thanks, Rohan. There was nothing that there was a hiccup. I'm open for questions. If any of you have questions, I'm okay for that.
Hi. So thank you so much for a nice presentation. I think I have quite a few questions.
Sure.
One is for a non-resident Indian, they can only have one PIS, but they can have multiple broking accounts, correct? So how do you, since you work with 3 custodians, how does that work essentially?
Yeah, what happens is whenever an order is generated, irrespective of the custodian, the consolidation, if I for a minute stray away from non-resident, the product supports customers having multiple custodians.
So can you take the mic? I can't hear you well.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it supports multiple custodians because there is a choice of custodians given by the PMS manager to the customers. He can choose any custodian he wants. Whenever it's consolidating for execution, that consolidation will happen at the custodian level, not just at the overall order level. So each custodian is delivered information about the customers that he is supposed to safekeep or he is supposed to support in terms of execution.
So basically the solution is, suppose I want to launch my PMS. So then instead of going to many others, I come to Kfintech, and Kfintech essentially provides me a platform which will essentially onboard customers, which will help me choose the custodian, which
Yes.
will do the fund accounting, which will do the order management system.
Yes.
Which will create dashboards for customers to look at the portfolio and the performance.
Absolutely.
Have I understood that right?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. So then, so basically you're doing almost everything that either a custodian does or a Wealth Spectrum does or XYZ, basically. It's a one-stop solution, basically.
Absolutely, you're bang on, and it's our belief that we provide a good choice of technology solutions. Being the latest entrant, we are providing a variety of systems from which you can choose from, and I do very strongly believe that we are a credible alternative to the other products that are available in the market today.
So, so then the only thing that an asset manager like me would do is basically plug in the brokers of my choice. Right?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
I'm saying if somebody opts for you, then the only option that, the only other thing that I'm left to do as an asset manager is to plug in the brokers of my choice, right? Basically.
That is number one. Number two, you are taking the active decisions that are necessary, which is supported by the system.
No, agreed. I'm saying, but the execution, like for example, the system will decide whom will this trade go to, right?
Absolutely.
So that choice is, so if I'm working with ISEC, for example, or if I'm working with a Nuvama or a Motilal, right, who are my choice of institutional brokers, what we will do is you will basically plug them onto this particular system.
Correct.
So then the system or the dealer can decide whom can this essentially go to.
Absolutely.
Right?
Correct.
Basically. Okay. And they can also be just one custodian.
They can.
Because rather than having too many custodians, from a choice perspective, there can be just one custodian if you want, right?
Absolutely.
Basically.
But most managers allow the choice because they have 2 or 3 tie-ups with custodians, so they offer the investor the choice. Like they may be with HDFC as well as ICICI as well as with somebody else. So the customer has the liberty to choose. I understand this is how the industry works. If it's going to be only one custodian, there's no problem.
There's one element which I thought was missing. I don't know whether that you guys have plugged that, which is every year there is an audited statement that needs to go out, right? Basically. So do you all have that also in place?
No, the financials are produced by the system. Full audit support is given. We also create an external user login with a staging area. In case the audit has to be performed on the system, you create a staging area, all the relevant data will move there without disturbing production. He can look at it, he can pass comments, etc., which can be absorbed by the back office team in terms of if they have to pass any adjustments or anything, that is also supported. It's a full back office, all the activities, including fund accounting audit, are supported.
So the system generates an audited report also, essentially.
It will generate reports which can be presented for audit.
To
Once
an
it's
auditor
audited,
for
yes.
signing off.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And what about the calculation of the fees and stuff like that? All of that?
Yes, absolutely. It could be performance driven or a simple management fee. Based on that, the system is fully capable of handling that. Number one. Number two, if there are intermediaries or if the manager has used some advisors or other such people who are bringing business to him, the computation of the commissions or whatever incentives, that is also part of that. That would be a computation which is given along with the platform.
Good. And do you all also have like a white label login for clients to access their portfolio?
Yes, we provide a portal for the clients to directly.
So like my PMS, for example, I have a PMS manager. When I log in, it logs into the Miles dashboard, basically, because it clearly shows, so-and-so PMS/Miles. So similarly, if I have my website and somebody says login, it can, we'll be able to show them, give the client a unique login ID password so that he can access his portfolio.
The unique login ID password is not an issue.
Yeah.
We'll have to discuss the white labeling aspect with my team. It's not.
No, I'm not talking about Miles. Forget Miles. I'm just taking that as an example.
Sure.
I mean, today, if I have my asset management company and I have a strategy, somebody logs in and wants to just take a look at his performance and all of that, it's available, right?
Yes.
Right. So something very similar to what a Wealth Spectrum does, basically, for
Okay.
Something similar, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for all these questions, but good, interesting presentation.
No issues at all. Thank you.
I might have probably covered most of the questions here on behalf of the audience.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Chandrashekar sir, for all the knowledge and also all the answers. And to felicitate you, I would like to call Miss Arisha Mittal. Can we hear a huge round of applause for the pretty lady? The stage is all yours. Let's shift in the middle of the stage. Let's shift here. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience.